Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and good evening, good morning, good afternoon. This is USA Global TV and Radio. We are coming to you live today from London, from the offices of the British School of Excellence. So thank you to our team member, Mr. Philip Sykes, who has lent out his studio for us to produce this show. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and I am your host of the show. Our show today is Coexistence and Sustainability with Pet Psychic Aminah. Today's topic is Nourishing Your Pup, expert tips on dog nutrition. So the star of our show is Pet Psychic Aminah. She and I have been working together for 4 years now, believe it or not. And we actually met on LinkedIn, which just goes to show you the power of connection by reaching out. You never know where things can go. So Pet Psychic Aminah is obviously a pet psychic, and she's also a trainer and a speaker and someone who is an advocate on all of us taking care of this planet, because we have a commitment to each other and a commitment to Mother Earth. Let's welcome Pet Psychic Aminah to the program. She's joining us from California in the good old US of A. Hello. Good afternoon there.
Absolutely great. And glad you gave everybody, weather's going to be wherever we are. And you and I are very fortunate to be in some sunny clouds. I love it.
Absolutely. So Pet Psychic Aminah, you really have a passion for taking care of the planet. And at the same time, you're very much focused on giving people some wonderful tips for taking care of their pets. So tell us how many pets you have and what their names are.
Well, that's just cheating, right? But it's not, because I am very fortunate to have 2 daughters, and it didn't start anywhere with my children. A lot of times people get pets because they think it'll be great for their child. And this is going to be a show, just so you know, as we're coming up. So I'm just giving you tidbits of how do you choose a pet and what age do you choose a pet. Today we're going to talk about food and nutrition. All pets need good food and nutrition, the same as we do. If your fingernails are falling off, that's not a good sign. It's a great sign also with your pets. If you are taking them to a groomer to have their nails clipped, they're indoors, whatever works for you, that's great. But that person should also give you the 411 on, I'm seeing a lot more scabbing on their paws. I'm seeing more, all kinds of different changes. When the animal is really sensitive about their paws. And Dr. Jacalyn, I would love to know from you, do you know how to make a pet not want to run away with his toes between his toes? Some pets don't
between his legs.
Say again?
Well, I guess if the pet is actually nervous, that might exhibit certain kinds of behavior. So can you elaborate in what instance?
Absolutely. So all our pets, all your baby humans, your dogs, all of that, they're like, what are you doing? Why are you grabbing my toes? Why are you, holding my fur? Because some of us scruff them, is what it's called. In the rabbit world, that's one way to get them out of the cage without them ripping you up with their very powerful back feet. That's where they get that jump, is from their back feet. So think about, who do I have in front of me? Do I have a carnivore? And he's only or she's only 2 feet high, not a Great Dane, or have a rabbit, or I have a parakeet. all of them need to be approached separately, differently, all of those types of things. I had sun conures for a while, wonderful little bird, but boy, my neighbors hated it. And I'm talking about my neighbors. I was in a house, and there's like, I can always tell when you get up because Maggie starts screaming. That was the name of the bird. So you need to know what is normal, what is a little different, meaning are their feet all scraped up? Do they have runny eyes? All of these things, the same thing you think about yourself. If you've got a horrible cough, then you're probably going to first, go get some cough drops or something, or a good hot tea, and that doesn't work. You go to the doctor. What we're trying to share is your animals go through the same thing. So you need to decide, are they indoors full-time? Are they outdoors full-time? Are they half and half? Because they are able to do that and do it safely. Sadly, Dr. Jacalyn, I'm wondering if you probably know this. What is one of the most what would be the right word, ending for dogs and cats? Do you know?
Life ending,
Mm-hmm.
when they are abandoned, when people leave their home and then they have to figure out how to survive on their own?
Absolutely, but there's one that is over that as number one. That would be down to 3.
Okay, let me hear it.
It is running around outside. They get hit by more cars. Pets get hit by more cars. I don't have the statistics for today. You'll have to look it up if you really want the number. But pets do run out in traffic. It doesn't matter how many times you tell them no, every time you walk on your leash or whatever. An animal can get spooked just like a person. An animal can say, oh, no, it smells funny here. I don't want to be here, all this kind of stuff. And off they go. And a lot of times the leash is broken or literally ripped out of the person's hand. So you might have them leashed and it still goes on. So to work on that is to work on what I'm talking about. The whole thing is be cognizant of what your pet wants, needs, and you need to make sure they have it. So today, we finally have the microchip that you can put, the vet puts it in a little teeny, it looks like a piece of rice. Everybody always says that, and it really does look like a piece of rice. But when you get the police department, I'm not sure they keep the guns for it, and what it is just a sort of a thing. But the vets do, and they can come up and say, oh, there's the owner's name. There is this, there is that, all the things they want, let's call them. And then your animal's going to get care hopefully sooner because they know they can reach out to you and say, oh, we found your dog, we found your cat, we found your, God forbid, turtle or lizard or whatever. These steps, a lot of people think are not important. I raised show rabbits for a long time when I was in my teens. And in those days, we had them tattooed. So it's just like people's tattoos. They're in their ear so that the judge and everybody could, actually say, yes, that's my animal. No, that's not my animal. Believe it or not, people steal them. People steal them even at shows, especially at shows, because they're fancy or they're better breed or what. And I'm just like, really? You can't get your own? Yes, they could. So some places where you are living and or what the lifestyle is, if you're on a ranch, your animals, let's say we'll stick to just dogs and cats, are going to want to go on walks with you, of course, but some of them are there to do a job. And Dr. Jacalyn, do you know what a job for a cat would be on an open land ranch or not? But why would people get cats?
To keep the rodents away?
Yes.
Yay, I got
I
one
knew it. I
point.
knew it.
Yay.
I was like, I knew she'd know this. Yeah, it's all vermin control. It's all vermin control. And cats are going to hiss at the bobcat because bobcat's only, one more cat size of the cat. And that confidence and just say, no, this is mine. Cats are not as owner crazy. And I don't mean the human, but the land and all that. And that is because of what they are. Cats will live on their own. Cats will have their babies on their own. They will carry them all over the place where they're safe. They will just say, hey, I'm out here. If you talk to some, sadly, some pets will just walk away from an owner they just don't want to deal with. And they're just like, no, I can feed myself. I'm out of here. Then you have the ones that, like a dog, that is a pack animal. They want to be around everybody. They want to be a part of all of it. So know your species. Know what their background is, would be great on their life expectancy or where they've been. Now, we don't have, I think it's US wide, and Dr. Jacalyn, maybe you can enlighten us on that, but pets are no longer sold in pet stores. There, you can go to a lot of stores, but I don't remember when we were kids, you'd have racks and racks of pets. And I was like, gosh, that doesn't look very comfortable. But they usually come from a good place where they're fostered, and then they bring them to a pet store that's willing to have a pet-a-thon for a day or two. Somehow that all went away. There was trouble with the way it was going down and how people who were adopting or whatever. When you're ready for a pet, start reading up on how, talk to the pet stores, talk to the people that are out there working in the animal industry. And the great thing is the good old internet. Just type it in there with your street or address and looking for a pet. But be careful when you get them from a person. So what we're talking about is, are they getting the nutrition? Are they getting more than soft cat food and or cereal, a quantity of, whatever we ingest, we people, it's the same as animals. If they're not getting good nutrition and the right nutrition. So with cats, it's a heavier diet in carnivores. It's going to be meat. It's going to be some version of meat or something made for that, and they make it in a pate. You don't have to look at the actual meat, but cats are considered carnivores. So it's all about the meat. Your dogs, on the other hand, are both carnivore and vegetarian. They love it. They love the combination. They love the different textures. So what I highly recommend when you're feeding your animal, try one thing. So if you've got one little dish of whatever cat food you decide it sounds yummy, you've got it off the shelf. Don't buy 20, don't buy 3 until you have your animal there. Give them a couple spoonfuls, not a lot, because we don't want upset tummies either, and have them throwing up all over the place. I'll tell you, we have a cat that loves to throw up, but it's a mess. So you want to be able to say, okay, on Tuesday at 4 o'clock, I gave 2 teaspoons to Bob, Gypsy, whatever your pet's name is. And every day, you're going to pick that same time zone, that same place, that same bowl, that everything has to be constant and exactly the same. Otherwise, the testing is not as accurate as it could be. So don't change foods. Don't change liquid if you're not giving just water. Whatever you're doing, try not to have it the week or month that they've got to be groomed and it can be a little stressful. Just a really good, happy, everyday life. And then try that new food. Then try them wearing sweaters. Whatever you do, try to find a quiet moment where you're hugging and loving and in your lap together. Maybe you get a sleeve on your hand or your wrist and the cat gets the sweater. And the cat looks at you like, well, just because you want to wear it, I don't want to wear it. So it's something to work on. I hope I'm giving everybody a picture. And I try to give lots of tips, because we're all different. Our pets are all different. Our lifestyles are different. The house or condo or trailer you live in is different. So I'm trying to give you the broad shot of there are ways to do this. Almost for every place, person you're in. Why is it so important? Well, you need to have your pets having great nutrition just so they'll have a great life. If you don't know what your cat or dog or lizard or whatever needs, then you really instantly, immediately, in this day and age, you can Google it. That's a start. Then try to find a person that can give you the details, the small details. That's what I really want you to do, is get a team. And maybe your parents and you're the child, and they're like, well, we're not sure. We want to get you a pet. We're not sure, you're going to take care of them. This is a great family outing to not only get the supplies, but what you're going to name them, and say you are the one who's chief in charge of that cat, dog, lizard, and that includes the nutrition. But doesn't mean you can't make it a family fun time. And I encourage the parents, if you have kids that are just driving you crazy about getting a pet, that doesn't mean you should, but it can mean a wonderful moment or 20 where you guys read up on it online, you go watch all the videos of owners and trainers telling you what is happening or not happening, what that breed typically is like. And now remember, typically is like, everybody's experience is different. Just like you or I saying, oh, every English descendant is blah, 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 blah. Gosh, I hope not. And we can open our minds to who do we have in front of you. Let me give you an example. Right now, I am blessed with living with my daughter and her cats and my cats. And so there's a few cats running around our house now. But one of them specifically, her name is Rin. One of my other daughters named her. I have no idea what it means, but she's been with us now 8-9 years. And I was there when my other daughter adopted her. But she has had, when she was young, a lot of medical issues. Just what all the vet could tell us was that she had a rough birth. She didn't get the nutrition while her mom was pregnant. All of those types of things just made her a little bit more edgy. Now, she is adorable. She's got this wide, long, puffy, fluffy hair I always want to get into. And she's like, no, don't do that. But now, today, I think we've had her 10 years. And she's not very big. She's very fluffy, but she's not very big. And I'd show her to you, but she's, of course, asleep, probably under my mattress or under the comforter. And what we do with Rin is we're careful. We slow our expressions. She can hear us laugh and all that to TV, but she's gonna go to a whole nother room and go, I don't know what that is. She is very shy. I have been blessed with close friends who are very shy. Obviously, you can see with me, I'm probably not very shy. And I know how to pull it back. And through the 5 years now I've had her by myself, and I told my daughter, you're not getting her back. She's on this wonderful trip. And it's like, no, I know, Rin is with me. And she spends most of her day under the quilt in my room because she feels safe. But what we've created for her with my roommates and the other cats that are here is protecting her. We don't let the other cats pick on her. We have one, oh my gosh, little boy, good sized boy. But he wants to roughhouse. He wants to jump on her and get her riled up. Oh my gosh, my brother was just like this. I was like, oh, is this all boys? You'll have to all tell me if that is true. I doubt it. But I needed to work with her. Now, she's been with me almost 4 years. And she will now come to me for a little bit of petting and comfort and all that, as long as I keep my energy quiet. Because I'm not a quiet energy person. That's not usually me. But what I love was the challenge she placed for me is, could I push myself into being calmer, being slower, being gentler? And what's great is I've been a public speaker for so long, and since I was so young, that these skills, guess what, were already introduced to me. So that's what I want to really, really help you with, is give yourself a chance. If you feel like, oh, I can't do a hairless cat, they're just ugly, 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 but guess what? You have horrible allergies. Don't absolutely check everybody off the list. See if you can foster. See if you can volunteer at the shelters. Now, I believe they take older people, not necessarily young kids, but you have to find the right shelter. Maybe it's the parents come with. There's all these kind of things. And we're quickly going to run up against spring and summer again. Shelters truly need the help. They need your old t-shirts and pants and jackets. And you're like, why? Well, because there's something comfort for the animals to sleep on and not have just cement or, maybe a great cushion. If you have the sadness to happen that my German Shepherd died, and I had these huge dog pillows and I had these huge bowls and knew I was not going to go back to having a dog again. And I haven't. It's 15 years later and I haven't. So I want to encourage you, you don't have to throw everything away, but the Goodwill is a great place. And it's easy to throw them in the laundry, especially if you have a big bottle where they tumble the washer. And you can use those blankets and all of that type of stuff. Go to the Goodwill. They have great stuff. They have new stuff. They have old stuff. But they're going to have possibly towels and things you can use that you don't need them to be fancy. I promise you the pets don't care as long as it's clean. Cats specifically, dogs will follow that in there, but cats specifically, they want to be clean. They don't want a litter box that has, 3 poops and 5 things of urine. And then because they will go to the bathroom because they need to, but they're not going to forever if you don't clean the box. So these are some of the things I really want you to think about when you're talking about getting a pet, you're talking about getting a medication, all the things that go into adding a life to your life.
Thank you so much. You covered so many things there. I want to ask a couple of questions.
Please.
The first being for people, because I've seen across the board various things. Some people who are interested in cost-effective food for their dog will go to the grocery store and get the giant bag of whatever, and they just go, yeah, this is it. I'm getting Fido this bag of food. Then they'll go over to the toy section and they'll get some kind of treats. And if you look at the back of the bag, I don't even know what's in there. And
then you can't say it. If you can't say it and it just says color, number, blah, 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 move on.
Don't buy it.
Something else you can actually pronounce.
Now, on the opposite end, there are people who will actually go to a bakery that bakes food specifically for dogs. And then there's also organic food. So let's talk about, if you have endless amounts of money, whoever you are out there, God bless you. If you have endless amounts of money, what you would recommend versus if you're on a budget. Let's start with the high end. What would you get if you could afford anything? Is it organic food? Are you baking treats for the dogs? Tell us more.
Yes, on both of those. It is chemical free. That's where you're going to any kind of organic food. You can go to the stores that just deal in that kind of food, and you can read the back. What you always want to know, and in my years of being taught to cook in 4-H, was read the first 3 ingredients. You really want to know what the most is in the thing you're going to eat. Those first 3 ingredients. They are the top thing. So if it says something like duck fat and half a wing of a dog and a blah, blah, and you look at it and go, first of all, I don't know what those words are. Second of all, you go, I don't want my animal to eat that. That sounds disgusting. If you think it is, so will they. And doesn't mean they won't try. They are like little kids too at some point. They are going to try everything. But what we shouldn't be doing is sharing our food, meaning Coca-Cola or 7-Up. I don't care what soda you got, or lemonade. It was not meant for pets. Oh, but he loves it. Great. So if you love running or you have a child or a friend that loves running, across the crosswalk while the cars have the right of way? Are we going to do that too? Yeah, let's go with no. Let's live longer, and you want that for your pets. And most of the time, regardless if they're coming from a shelter, which they do a wonderful job there, but they have small resources. And now they're in a house and you've got them pottying all over the place, or you got to do this as well. Yelling at them and saying, "Oh my God, you pooped on the grass, on the carpet again." Try to go easy, try to go slow and say, "Wait a minute, we're new together. We're going to work this out. At some point, diapers might be a thing. And you have to be aware there are illnesses that come with not being able to hold their urine, diarrhea. Oh my gosh, all of us know about that, and your child probably not. So these are the things you need to keep track of and see what works for them. So let's see. Maybe your dog, cat, lizard, whatever, loves green beans, absolutely loves them. But yet you talk to the vet, because that's what you're going to do before you give them. You could try one, I'm sure, but make sure you read up. The internet is fabulous, and you need a good vet that you trust and that you can jot off a line, and the nurse picks it up or whatever and says, "Hey, I'm going to get them to check this out. Is broccoli okay? Is asparagus okay? Is blah, 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 blah. Cheese whiz." I see that used a lot. When my dog and I were competing, people would bring a little bit of cheese whiz or something fun, but I'm talking about a little, a thumbful, not a whole bowl, not a whole thing. Because if you read the ingredients of cheese that's processed, after a while you run out of words, you know what they are. I promise. And it could be 2 words later or 3 words later. It's the same thing with bologna and any kind of meats that they're mixing together. Talk to your vet. They have amazing resources, and they have wonderful nursing staffs. If you're in the right place and you don't call them every 5 minutes, because it does cost money, they have to pay for the roof over their head also. So we want to be cognizant that this is their job. And somebody else, you call them and you know they work in a clinic and you keep calling them because they're your neighbor and they should answer. No, these are where I really want to stress that no, we don't get everybody's life job and say they'll fix us. Say you live across from a doctor or a nurse and it's like, oh, they'll bandage it up. Wait a minute, why? If it's crisis, if it's, you got a nail stuck in your chest or up on your sleeve, yeah, it's time to try the 911 first, because that's what your neighbor, friend, whatever is going to. Can we help each other with tips? Absolutely. What I'm doing now. I do share this all my life, and I learn more when I talk to other pet parents and something new has happened. I have never had to personally deal with a cat that has dander. And I mean a lot of skin coming off all over the place, and they're itching all the time. But we finally had one of those, and really my daughter's cat, and she wanted to stay holistic. That was her change in life. When as she got older, she's like, no, I want it to be healthy, because that's going to happen. And it took a little while, but we found the right mix, the fine thing, kept checking in with the vet. And they'd say, and after they just took our call after a while and just said, okay, we tried this. What do you think? And she got a little bit of rash. Things have to come in their own time. You might have somebody that you don't even know has chocolate allergy, and yet they get horribly sick or bumps all over the place. Boy, I bet they're going to find that out. So water is one of our chief things. We can wash our arm or leg, wherever the contact that's bothering you, and you can get some water down into your system to get your body a chance to go, woo, what are we doing? That's not all. You gotta, if you can't breathe, if you can't talk, if all of that, then you need to be at a hospital immediately. But there's those levels. Hopefully everybody understands. There's levels of, I'm a little itchy. I can put a little, itch cream, the pink stuff. I don't even remember what the name of it is. Campoponique. All of this can work. But sometimes you might run into something that makes you itchy and worse. Your pets can go through the same. Let me say it again. Your pets can have allergies too, also. So you need to keep the golden rule is one thing at a time. If you've got a brush that you got and you're going to need to brush your cat, dog, whatever it is, hopefully you're not brushing a lizard, that wouldn't be good. And then all of a sudden they have a rash. This is one of the new things in their life. So let's go with, okay, let's clean the plate. Let's clean the plate, Mark, and find out which thing is setting them off. It is a science place. It is a wonderful place to just figure out what can you do together, and what does your vet and what does the internet, because I'm sorry, it's a great place for lots of tips. What do they recommend? And then do a little. And I mean, just the top of your finger, you can try something for an animal that has a lot of allergies to food, not just contact. So you rub up against the couch and poof, they turn into a little itch bomb. It can happen. I don't know about you, but we have a couch that literally has to be cleaned at least every year or two. And because not just the hair, it's everywhere. So when you take your clothes out to be cleaned, even your local washer and dryer, because that's what you have, or you take a outfit to the dry cleaner and they do this wonderful, fabulous things that they do to it, and they iron it too, doesn't mean you and I are not going to have a reaction to it. So take a deep breath and say, okay, what do I need to know? That's what this wonderful world of internet is. You can literally ask Siri or anybody else you want to ask and ask a question and see where it is. I just really encourage you, that should happen first before you give your pet a treat. I happen to have these sitting next to my desk just because I'm working on something, but I'm going to show you guys. Do you see these little bumpy things? They're just decorative, I don't know what you would call them.
We see them, yes.
Stuffy beads, I don't know. And they don't have any plastic in them. They're all soft. This could kill your pet in 6 hours, in 10 hours, in 2 minutes. So don't ever have it. So mine is sitting up in a box because, man, I have 3 cats. And all of this stuff, and all of this is from one of the girls' graduation thing. This is a killer. It is not just food. It is not just they lick the ground or they do this. Everything we have is the same as having a small baby, and that's learning to walk. I would never keep this in the open if I had small children. Your cats and dogs, lizards, whatever you've got, bunnies, birds, all of those things. They also want us to see what it is. It looks pretty cool. I want to know what it is. Please, please, please remember, put it in a drawer, put it in a Ziploc bag, put it wherever it needs to be out of anybody's access, because it takes 2 seconds to have our pets swallow something, and now you've got to take them to the doctor who's got to do an emergency surgery, And the worst part is, so many don't survive. So remember, good nutrition doesn't mean you leave the bag open and they have it 24 hours a day. No, because you could get sick on enough vitamins. Good nutrition comes with good practices about what you have in your world, house, outside, inside, is so, so important. There is still a whole bunch of things that we're going to cover on another show. And Dr. Jacalyn and I have talked about, we're going to talk about behavior, and we're going to talk about how to correct. If you haven't, and I'm just brushing through just a few thoughts, if you have something you want me to cover, please send us a message. And I am really glad to do that, because you won't be the only one who wants to know.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. I have another question, which is, I know of people who have pets, and I've done this myself, so I'm not going to blame anyone. But the dog, for example, will not stop barking.
Mm.
So here's a treat. Here's a treat. And by the time you know it, you had whatever treats, and the dog is waddling around.
Yeah, yeah.
But people think, you know what? And people do this with children too. And again, no judgment. But
Right.
your child is screaming for sugar or for sugary drinks, and then you give them the drink. So let's just focus on the dogs. We're coming to the end of the program, but for people who are interested in giving treats over and over again, all day long, there's treats. What do you recommend as a good number, if there is, or a good practice or protocol to giving your dog treats? Can you share with us?
In a perfect world, in the best family you want to put out there, no treats. Because if you are communicating, dog, cat, lizard, bird, whatever it is, okay, if you're communicating appropriately, timely, you don't push them away. And this is true for all of us. We get busy and say, "Oh, I'll get to you, I'll get to you," blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden your child's got shoelaces all over their throat and you're like, "Oh my God." And we start beating ourselves up. That's not where we're going. What Dr. Jacalyn said, I'm going to repeat in a bigger way of, make sure you're paying attention. Where's your child? Where's your pet? Where's your pet and where's the car? Where are all the other cars? Believe it or not, lots of pets just swoop right out your door and you never saw it because you got a bag of groceries and the bag was in the way. Check on everybody. Make sure if your child is sleeping longer than you expect by even hours, much less minutes, go and check them. Are they got a fever? Are they awake? Maybe this one likes to sleep a lot. That's great, but you still can check them. And you check your forehead, you can check under your neck, feel about temperature. Your pets are no different. Everybody needs to sleep. Oh, and kitty cats do it really well. They're out for the whole day, on and off, and they're wonderful pets. So remember, who are you dealing with? What is their go-to when they're overdone or overtired? For me, if I'm not dog tired, as the saying goes, I go for a walk, especially when I know I have so much more I want to get done in the day. And going out and having a little breeze in my face, hopefully not more than that, I just go for a walk up and down our hills that we have. And thank goodness right now it's rained. So this background that's on here, it's the same thing at my house. It's a beautiful time. And I might only get a really short time because it gets hot where I live. And poof, all the leaves and trees are gone. Remember, everything in its place, everything within time. If your children are left on their own devices, it can get dangerous. And I know there's little recorders in all rooms you can do, and everybody's doing what they can because they have a job full time, all of these types of things. Find creative ways. There used to be a whole bunch of people all together used to do scrapbooking. If you don't know what that is, please Google it. But it's a safe way. You get pens and ink, and I right now am putting a whole set together for my grown children because I have all these memories and all these pics and pictures and things, and I don't want it to be waste. What it would be fun is if I was doing this when they were a child. And once in a while I did, but we were all kind of busy. A child today, even at 5 years old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, how much fun would it be to take a little stickers and everything? Because let's see, you go to McDonald's, you probably get stickers. You go to Taco Bell, I don't know if they do stickers anymore. Blah, 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 blah. You can get their menu that you take home and your child makes something out of it. It doesn't matter what you're doing. So this is one of my examples. And what it is just a piece of paper with red stuff. Believe it or not, it came out a picture. And this was one of the, I don't know, part of the building or something like that, but it didn't fit in the frame I was going to use. So I cut the bottom off, and I keep that because it'll make a great border on something. And that's the fun part of dollar stores and all kinds of things. You can find something that your family, your kids like to do together, And if you're not the creative one, doesn't mean you can't learn it, because I know I was not the creative one. I was the animal one. That was my creativity, is just being around the animals and working with the animals. And now I'm like, you know what? I got all these wonderful pictures. I got all this wonderful craft stuff. Time to get it into some binders so my children can enjoy them and share them with their families. So think positive, be positive. Life throws us a few curves, but with the animals in our lives and or the nature that's outside, and you get to just see the birdies. Now, I hope what you didn't hear me say, I'm going to make sure you didn't hear it. I am not an advocate of wildlife being fed by humans. Bird baths, fine. Bird seed out, not. Because what the birds are now not doing, they're not picking up seeds, eating them, and then pooping them in another place, where guess what? That's how plants and things in the wildlife outside does it. From birds to other animals, they have it out, and guess what? There's a little good soil to go with it, and a little poop to go with it. So it's not always, I need to do this. If you know, which we're coming up sadly on this, that they're not getting water because all the creeks are dried up, they're not getting enough food, talk to your bird. You can Google it now in a million platforms and say, I want to feed the wild birds. Then find out what they need. And if you can afford it, that would be great. And if it's only 3 months a year or 2 months a year, because birds and all animals coexist in the world because they do something that somebody else needs. They don't go out and say, excuse me, could you sign my card? I came here to drop some seeds so we'd all have plants. And plants help the erosion from too much water and rain, and it's all connected. So when you and I step in there and get native plants and animals dependent on us and or expecting that, catastrophic things can happen. Those animals die because you used to live at the house, you no longer live at the house, you don't have a bird feeder anymore. So be careful about what you do. Do the research and figure out how little can you do without still participating and helping the world grow. I'm all for potted trees and that type of stuff that we're going to put in sunshine. But you need to find out, is this appropriate for where you are, the time of year you're in, and what do native birds, lizards, cattle, whatever need. First and foremost, they need a clean place to live. So if you see trash on the ground, I highly recommend just pick it up, and then you can throw it away. All you have to do is don't touch yourself with your hands. Or I know people who have Kleenex in their purse or in their pocket. And they pick it up with that. That's all you have to do. One piece at a time. Just, can you imagine, Dr. Jacalyn, at millions of people that live on this earth and what we've done to it? And all of us just every day picked up one piece of litter. One.
It would make a
litter in a week.
Huge difference. Absolutely. I'm so sorry, but we are out of time because our next show is coming up. I want to quickly share something for people who are watching. We have your LinkedIn right here, which is your name and your photographs. And so people, please, you can go over to Amina's LinkedIn. We've also shown it on the banner today. And then we'd also like to just share Amina's website, which is bridgingworlds.us. And that's right here. So we also have that showing on the screen. And for any of our friends who are listening on a podcast platform, it's just as it sounds. Bridging, BRIDGING, worlds, WORLDS.US, bridgingworlds.us. So whether you're watching on the live, the replay, or listening, we have information and content for you, and you can always come back and watch it over and over again. Thank you so much. From London to California, we have it all together. I'll be looking forward to seeing you back next week when I'm back in the States. and we'll hear about another fabulous topic. So thanks
Well,
again.
and let me throw this in 2 seconds because we're all ready to go. Anybody listening to this show, it will be out there live, and it will be only for 48 hours. If you mention my website from my show today, I will give you a 15, 20-minute reading for free.
Say it again, please, slowly.
Anyone who sees this and or has been with us during the live, I am offering 15 to 20 minutes, because I know myself, I'll say 15 and we'll do it 20, a free reading when you call me, email me and say, I saw you on your US Global TV radio show. Is it still available? Because I'm only going to do 3. That's the only thing is the third. By the time the third call, then that's all I'm doing. I'm doing a free reading for you for being here with us during our show.
All right, so let's just recapture what you said for anyone who's listening, because many people just listen. They're not watching or listening on the live. But if you contact Aminah and mention her website, which is bridgingworlds.us, you can see it right here if you're looking at the screen. Again, if you're on a podcast platform, it's Bridging Worlds, all one word, .us. She will give you a free reading for 15 or 20 minutes.
And the only correction, Dr. Jacalyn, is I want them to mention your show, the one we just did.
You have to mention USA Global
TV. I want you to have gone
and radio
and seen it on the radio, and you guys will be the only ones that will see it because we're logging off now. Have a great week, Dr. Jacalyn.
All right. Thank you. You as well. Bye, everyone. Take good care. And remember, wherever you are in the world, you can collaborate. You can meet someone. Like I met Aminah. I never met her in person. We worked together all this time. I've met all these people here in London for the first time. I've been working with them for 3 years. Go out and do something that makes you feel uncomfortable. Help someone, pick up trash, be kind, show empathy and compassion, and our world will get so much better. Absolutely. All right. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Be safe out there.
Bye-bye.
Bye.